Good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is Joe Scarice, founder and host of the Creative Birth Strategy House and podcast, brought to you on Clubhouse as well as various other social media sites like YouTube, uh, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Audible. We're here to provide a very consistent theme of education, networking, and hopefully creating some opportunities. So we'll get started here in just a few minutes, and we'll get things going here. Gotta move things around. Very busy week, as we all know, in the investment space. Um, Rates came down a tick. We had a whole 0.001 change in our inflation rate, and we all thought the world was changing to a better place. It's absolutely amazing how the media kind of takes advantage of the small little things that happen in life. So we'll get started here in just a few minutes. I'm going to invite some people in. Got some mods already up here as well. I want to thank first our sponsors, as always, because we wouldn't be here without them. I'd like to thank Yardell Perkins of Perkatech. He's our social media strategist and business partner in the Creative Birth Strategies podcast. He is the man behind the scenes, putting together all the strategy, discussion, and audit for all our social media activity throughout the internet, which, as I call him, the Oz behind the drape. And another thing, we are celebrating our 50th podcast as the Creative Birth Strategies podcast today. So this is our 50th podcast. I want to thank Yardell and all our engaged listeners and followers of the club and the group. And you can always find our information on the website, creativebirthstrategies.com. Also, I'd like to thank Realty 411 with Linda Pelagas, a national publication, and she provides publications for real estate professionals and services throughout the country, as well as national events throughout the country. I'd like to thank MB Capital, your unsecured business line of credit referral program. I represent them as a referral partner. We provide unsecured business lines of credit for real estate investors or business-to-business individuals that need money through their LLC. And then I'd like to thank Lenmark Capital, your asset-based lender nationwide, providing DSCR rental loans, 1 unit up to 25 units, fixed to rent, fixed to flip, new construction, blanket loans, real estate advisory and strategy. And I'm a senior loan analyst there. And I'm really enjoying and very passionate about assisting real estate investors in taking their business to the next step. So if you have any questions on that as well, please reach out to me. Happy to say we offer also educational services for real estate agents. We provide CE credits for realtors in asset-based lending. And now I just got it approved as of yesterday, wholesaling real estate, the understanding of wholesaling real estate for real estate agents and lenders. It's a 3-credit CE course. I'll be rolling that out as well and be providing that as an educational piece for real estate agents throughout the country. And I just finished publishing that and getting it approved. We also provide worksheets for our real estate investors to better underwrite your deals. And then last but not least, I am starting and relaunching a mastermind second Monday of the month. It will be set up as a podcast and here on Clubhouse as well, but it'll be live and in person in Philadelphia at our offices where Yardell and I are in South Philadelphia on 17th and Snyder at Newbold Exchange. We'll be there every Monday, second Monday of the evening, second Monday of the month, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., providing education and insight and masterminding. So the individual that decide to attend, they're going to be involved. That's how masterminding works. So I'm very excited about that as well. And I think that'll be another great way of just getting to meet people and see people in person. It's an additional podcast that we're going to offer through our podcast and through Clubhouse as well. It'll be Monday night, second Monday night of the month, 6:30 p.m. Today's discussion, exploring AI implementation for real estate investors strategies. And, I put an article out the other day in regards to this. I typically try to match up an article on LinkedIn and share it on Facebook and things of that nature. Understanding where AI is taking us. Obviously, I'm a big fan of AI because, it helped me publish 2 books rather quickly. and was able to get them in front of NAR and get them approved and get CE approval, and where I could be an educator on very specific subjects that I enjoy. So implementing AI in real estate investor strategies can revolutionize how investors identify opportunities, manage properties, and optimize their portfolios. Some ways that we're going to discuss, and we have Amy here too as well, that AI can be leveraged in this field. Number one, market analysis and property valuation. Predictive analytics, comparative market analysis. Number two, investment opportunities, property search and selection, risk assessment. Number three, portfolio management, optimization algorithms, and performance monitoring. We do a lot of KPIs at our office. We're always monitoring performance. So that's something I kind of get a lot. Number four, property management, predictive maintenance and tenant screening. Number five, financial analysis, cash flow forecasting, and loan underwriting. Number six, marketing and sales, targeted marketing, and price optimization. Number seven, smart contracts and blockchain integration, automating transactions and tokenization. And irony enough, I've been asked to teach a course on tokenization as a CE credit, so I'm looking into that as well. So some practical steps to implement AI, and I'll obviously introduce Amy on this. Data collection and management, choose the right tools, integrate AI into your workflows, continuous learning and adaptation, and collaboration with experts. By leveraging AI, real estate investors can gain a competitive edge, making more informed decisions, optimizing their portfolios, and ultimately increasing their returns. Good morning, Amy. Welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, AI implementation for real estate investor strategies.
Hi, Joe. Thanks for having me. I am Amy Palvido. I am the founder and CEO of a real estate technology company. It's a data and AI company, so I know the subject quite well. I'm also the chair of the U.S. PropTech Council, and PropTech is defined as real estate technology, any real estate technology. We have over 850 members, and we're growing every day. And so I'll say AI implementation it's obviously gaining steam. It hasn't at its peak. There'll be more and more AI tech that comes out. I have the luxury of being able to see a lot of the startups in this space that are using AI in really inventive ways. But what you need to understand is that there's more coming, but right now, the three main kind of components of what AI can do for you, there's computer vision. You obviously have your large language models, and then you also have your predictive nature, where it's scanning and learning, right? Those are the three kind of AI technologies that exist today. So in real estate, computer vision is super helpful. We use it in my company. And what computer vision means is you take a video, which is happening more and more, becoming more and more prevalent today, where you can take a video and capture data from the video, and the AI does that itself. So you can walk around a unit and it can measure out that unit, or it can take data like of attributes in a home or whatever it might be. So that exists today, and those are being used in several different applications around move-in, move-out conditions, virtual touring, and understanding how you put in, say, for a home for sale. It can gather all those attributes of you just walking around with your phone and then putting that information into like a home for sale. There's lots of things that computer vision can do. And then you also going to have the things around the predictive side. So what I will say about the predictive side, and AI can do amazing things, but when you get to the predictive side, it's not really the role of AI. The predictive side is all about how do you get the best data. And a lot of real estate data right now is what we call very dirty. You need to make sure that the data that is collected on your buildings or whatever data your data sources you're using, whether you're scraping them from the internet or wherever it's coming, you have to have a good attention to whether that data is super clean, because your AI will produce results for you, but if your data is bad, then it's giving you bad results, right? Garbage in, garbage out. So you have to that on the predictive side. It's more of a focus on your data collection, your data cleanliness, is what you have to do. And then the last one around the large language models. There's a lot of them starting to come out. There's Lori for multifamily. There's others. One we're developing. His name is Max. There's Chris. And there's a Chris person that will help a real estate agent do the first part of the lead generation. There's others. There's lots of those large language models. And I think that's really like the shiny object that everybody wants. They want the Jetsons thing where they can talk to somebody and it produces those great things. I'm not so much focused on that from my company because I'm more focused on the data side, right? We're a data aggregator, but those large language models are not going to go away. They're just going to get better. But I think from an industry standpoint, the real estate industry really needs to work on its data problem first. The LLMs will always be there, but you need to work on your data problem first, and then you do that, and then your large language model can interact with the right data. So that's my half a nickel.
Half a nickel.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to dive into this real quick because obviously we obviously are seeing a lot of changes in the real estate space. It's happening ever so rapidly. I mean, the NAR settlement lawsuit was just kind of actually a big thing, but it was already, the dam was already breaking, okay? To reconfigure real estate as a whole from an AI perspective. So, is this going to change the model of a realtor in the next 2 to 3 years? Meaning, how many layers is there going to be that you're going to be connected to, like the National Association of Realtors? Do you think all these associations are going to kind of get wiped out, and it's going to be just one almighty source to go to, and then where you get your MLS, like the consolidation of just the industry itself? Do you think all these other little layers to the license is going to change with AI over the next 2 to 3 years?
Not 2 to 3, but maybe 10. I think the MLSs have their own problems in the fact that there's no standardization in that data. That's the biggest problem to any sort of AI integration. There's the RESO, which is the Real Estate Standards Organization. It's really, really pushing hard on the MLSs to standardize their nomenclature and their language. Right? You can't. It's a simple thing, but you might in one MLS call this area a foyer, and then another MLS call it a hall, and that is a very important data point. But it's like, so everybody calls these things differently, so you can't really get a good comparison. And so there's a big push right now to get a lot of that done. And so I think real estate, its AI adoption is really going to be dependent upon its data. Do I think that the real estate agent's job is going to change in the next 2 to 3 years? Most definitely. There's a lot of new products coming out now where the real estate search is going from, I would call it a property centric model, where the buyer is having to sift through a ton of properties, and therefore they use a real estate agent to kind of do that for them sometimes, because it's kind of overwhelming at some point, to where the AI will just ask the buyer certain questions. Hey, what do you like in a home? Show me pictures of what you like. What do you need? If you're concerned about schools, do you want a dog? Do you have dogs? What do you want close by? What do you like around you normally? And then it will take that information from the buyer, so it becomes buyer centric, and then it goes and searches for those homes for them, right? And so it flips it on its head. And there's a lot of AI kind of search things like that are being developed now. So the real estate agent is his job will change. I don't think they necessarily go away, but I think their job changes to where it's closer towards the end of the transaction when they need more help with, how do I get through the transaction versus the search part, right? Versus the lead gen part of sifting through all the people who are interested in, who wants to listen to 100 phone calls of people kicking tires? Nobody does. So AI can do that for the real estate agents. They can sift through qualified leads. They can do all of those great things, and then they can help, narrow down the search for a buyer and what they really truly want. So I think it's a good thing. I think agents become AI enabled is what I think. And if you're not using those tools as an agent, you basically will be replaced by agents who are.
So I have two more questions for you, and then we'll open it up to the other moderators, of course. Your thoughts on chatbots and how that's going to integrate for real estate agents and real estate teams and companies. That 24/7 real estate investing assistance. Do you think that's on the borderline of legality with the license, or do you think that's a necessary evil with AI implementation?
I think, it does. I mean, I think the U.S. is very anti-chatbot. I mean, if you look at the regulations, it is, but other countries aren't. And so the AI can lead most. I mean, a lot of countries don't have regulations like the U.S. do around real estate. I would say I venture to guess 90% of them don't. And so AI is prevalent in those other markets because it can lead a buyer down a path and get it to the agent that can perform the sale. But in the United States, the chatbots don't exist as much because there is more regulation around the licensing and the structures and the things you can say and can't say. But you can teach an AI bot to say those things or not say those things. But there's requirements that whoever is talking to a prospective buyer needs to be licensed. Well, an AI is not licensed, right? And so that's why it's not as becoming as prevalent here as it is around the world. Like there's 12. I mean, if you talk to Eugene, who created Chris, Chris is basically can take a prospective buyer pretty much half, like 50% down the path of like choosing a home, and they can do it all virtually to where the agent really only needs to come in, towards the end, and it makes the agent he has brokerages in six different, or no, about 8 different markets around the world, and he uses his own tech, and it makes his agents it doubles their productivity because the AI can answer 24/7. But not only that, the AI can answer in about 80 languages. So you're not dependent upon an agent to know Spanish or Chinese or, Laotian or whatever it is. The AI can answer it in their native language. So.
And this also leads to my next question in staying ahead of the curve. Predictive market analysis. Where do you think this is going to impact property valuation and market trends? I'm obviously seeing the impact. I'm reviewing market trends and property valuation on a day-to-day basis in various markets, and I'm watching the needle move here and there. Price drops. Is rates really making any form of impact right now? Are we just in a inflated market? And where do you think this appraisal industry is going with AI in the property valuation over the next several years? I mean, it's an aging industry, as we know. So where do you see this, crossroads with AI? And has it been discussed with your counsel in regards to appraisal and where that's all going?
Yeah, I mean, there was an article that was published. I think it was The Economist. I can't remember, but it was talking about the biggest crisis in real estate right now is that there's not enough appraisers, and the appraisers are getting old. And it's the crucial piece to any sort of financing of a transaction, right? You have to have an appraisal. And I think I have not seen any tech come out as far as replacing an appraiser. I don't think that, but I think it's doable. I think if you can teach, if you can take, there's there's AI that's out there now that will, like, if we had 10 appraisers in a room, it could teach, and because they're all going to have a different opinion, but that AI can take those knowledgeable appraisers toward properties, and over time, you can teach the AI how to be an appraiser. That exists today. That AI exists today, right? But you have to have the inputs from the appraisers to kind of teach it. So I think eventually it gets there because appraisal isn't part art, part science. It always has been, and depending on how distant that property was and how old the other transactions were, they were making educated guesses, right? And so, but yeah, I don't know where that goes, but I know that is a huge gap in the industry, and it's a huge pressing concern. And I think AI can do, hopefully, if it's not all of the appraisal, if it's 80% of the appraisal, and the appraisers kind of just check it off, and really, for a lot of it's going to be dependent upon the real estate data, and this is where my company comes in, right? If I plug my company, but my company is gathering digital twin data. Even if it's not mine, if the other digital twin data sources are out there, then it makes the appraiser's job a whole lot easier, because then they're not having to travel to the locations. They can do Google Earth, they can look at the digital twin data, and then they can have AI kind of look and do about 80% of it, and they can just make an educated quality control check, right? Maybe that's where it goes. I'm not sure if it completely replaces them, but it can do a bulk of it.
Well, I think obviously home price growth may soon stall, or it's already stalling in different markets. And I think if you implement AI to a point where you're not getting that physical look at, the eyes on the site, you're going to lose 10, 15% in values automatically. What does that do to the client that bought properties without an appraisal? Okay, waiving the appraisal. I mean, they're out 10 to 15% just because of the model shift didn't work in their favor. I mean, I think we're in a major shifting coming up in values, not just from a homeowner perspective, but from an investor perspective. Because if there's not enough sold and settles, you don't have appraisal value. So where is even AI going to pick up a value? And if wherever they pick it up from, it's going to be less no matter what, because there's just nothing to grab onto. So I see trees in the forest. I see debt service coverage ratio issues in the investment space. I see value issues coming ahead because of AI coming in and implementing their hands into the deal. So, where is this going to all go for the realtor? Because they can't oversell something if the value's not there, unless somebody's willing to bring a lot of money to the table. And then you got inflationary and expense issues. People just don't have the money to put into these deals and overpay at a certain point. So
there's a lot of pricing pressure right now that's still evident, and it's the only reason the prices are high is because of lack of inventory, right? But the inventory is starting to come back on the market, and when it does, it'll force the prices down for sure.
Yep. Well, thank you, Amy. Travis, good morning and welcome. Thank you for your patience. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, AI implementation for real estate investor strategies.
Hey, morning, guys. Man, this is a cool topic. I'm really enjoying this. My background in my 20s and 30s, I was doing a lot of enterprise development for big companies who are writing enterprise software, and so I'm into this stuff. This is cool stuff. So, when you guys are talking and everything that Amy's talking about, where I was thinking when you started talking about property valuations is, boy, this could really help us with appraisals, especially when she said about the computer vision. And so, I've got a property that I just remodeled, and after we had that discussion a few weeks ago about issues with appraisers and blah, 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 I thought, you know what, I'm going to be a little bit proactive. I'm going to go watch all my competition, take videos of their properties, not everything that wasn't pending yet, right? Which there was quite a few that were active. in case, when my property goes under contract and these properties go under contract, the appraiser told these properties as comps, they most of the time they never been in the property, right? Especially if it's already closed. And hopefully they're looking at photos from, the properties when they close through our MLS. But even that, it doesn't really give you a good picture of what the property's like, right? And so many times people say, oh man, the property looks so good in the pictures. When you get there in real life, oh my gosh, pictures can hide a lot of stuff. So I could see where this would be really, really useful, where an appraiser or somebody that's, part of the appraisal process is going out and they're videoing these properties and they're using that computer vision to determine, okay, what this house looks like. It's 15 years old by the video that I see, or it looks like it's, brand new. Of course, it's going to still need some input as far as what's been done, as you can't see behind the walls and up in the attic and everything. But yeah, I can see where this is really going to help us, because I think appraisals and appraisers, it's just their opinion. They should use some science and they should use some prediction as far as where the market's going. And I've gone back and forth with appraisers over, them telling us we're in a stable market. And I'm like, how can you say that when, everything around is pending? And we have our days on market's like super low. And, if you calculate out the months of inventory, we're down to like a few weeks. How can you say that we're in a stable, normal market? No, we're in an increasing market. So I can see where that's gonna really be helpful. And I like what she was talking about with, being a buyer focused. I remember a few years ago there was an app out there. It was called Ojo, like OOJO or something. I don't know if it's still around, but that's what it was doing. It would give you some photos or tell you to pick some properties and some features of the properties that you like, and it would start searching based on what you picked. And I can see where that's going to help a lot.
Well,
So I'm excited for this, man. I think
I look at it the other way, Travis. I think there's a lot of things out there that we have to be concerned about if people are hiding things. Like, if they're not trying to disclose something and it comes up during the appraisal. I mean, have you seen that come up recently where like you didn't know about something that came up through the appraisal? Obviously it was an AI background data verifying and it came up and nobody knew about it. Are you there, Travis?
Yeah, sorry, Joe. No, it's breaking up. It's breaking up a bit for me.
Okay, so I'll give you an example. Just recently, I'm working with a broker. He's brokering a loan to me, and the appraiser comes up with a home inspection that came out of nowhere. Nobody knew about this. He found it on through AI investigation, which told us that the subject property had foundation and structural issues. Okay? The broker didn't know. The seller didn't know. The buyer didn't know. I didn't know. The underwriter and the appraiser reaches out to me and say, hey, did you know about this? I'm like, I had no idea. Somehow, when they did their AI background search, they found this home inspection somewhere sitting out there online, brought that deal into the perspective. Now that went from a DSCR loan to a rehab fixed to rent loan. The whole model shifted. Now, to me, that's great homework being done. But how many of those type of questionable issues are out there with houses right now? The average house is built in 1954. So whether you put lipstick on a pig or you do a full renovation, you still need that physical person out there. But I think AI is just going to change a lot of the industry because you're not going to need as much labor. It's going to be a quicker process. To get an appraiser now back, to get appraisal back, it's taken 7 to 10 days. That eats up almost half your 30-day close time. And if that appraisal doesn't come back right, you got to dispute it. You got to come up with other comps to justify that they're not using already. And then the AMC's got to review it. and then the underwriter's got to review it. Now you just ate up another 7 to 10 days. What happened to that 30-day close? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think AI is going to cut a lot of the fat out in this process. It's going to be the almighty biblical scripture to how these deals are getting closed. It could either hurt us or help us in some markets. Travis, are you there?
Yeah, I can see where you're. Yeah, I'm here, Joe. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. I'm just thinking
I
there's.
can see where you say that.
Yeah. So
I think I think AI is the new buzzword, right? So they're going to use that word for a lot of things that are not even AI. So like what you're talking about, it sounds like the guy just did a Google search on the property address and he found something somebody published online, and it's for whatever reason public about that inspection. I'm not aware of inspection companies that publish their inspections online for people to see, other than those that have paid for it, because that would kind of defeat their whole purpose.
yeah, well, they found it. They found it. I don't know where they found it, on a disclosure or something, but they found it. So, but I appreciate your insight, Travis, and thank you.
No problem, brother.
So let's get caught up here and do a reset real quick. We're the Creative Birth Strategies podcast. We're here every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, providing educational subjects, providing strategy, and hopefully you walk away with some form of golden nugget and connection and some networking. We're here. We also have our website, which is up above. We are starting a Monday night event, second Monday of the month, 6:30. It'll be live and on here on our podcast in Philadelphia. So be more than happy to come and join us live, or just come back onto Clubhouse or one of the other social media buckets that we provide our insight. Again, AI is tying into so much other things than just the sale itself now. We're looking at virtual tours and staging, enhancing property showcases. We're looking at risk assessment, making safer investments like credit scoring, fraud detection. We do a major AI background check to make sure that we know who we're lending to, and things come up almost every other application. Who is this person? So fraud detection is extremely important. And where I think AI is going to become very helpful to the investor, the landlord, is maintenance and property management, keeping properties in top shape, predictive maintenance, tenant management, and enhancing the customer experience, meaning tenant-landlord relationships, providing exceptional service. To have a virtual assistant set up to take a call from somebody 24 hours a day, somebody that can at least acknowledge, hey, there's something going on in my apartment here. I need to talk to somebody and get an emergency. I think that's big. And then there's feedback analysis now. Also, investment analysis. Understanding your portfolio. You could do an AI review, ROI predictions. Justin, good morning and welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, exploring AI implementation for real estate investor strategies.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday today. I'm Justin Jefferson. I'm in the Southern Louisiana market. Dealt with different things. Main thing. And I'm stepping my way to the side. A lot of things, and as I dive into the message, there's a lot of things that I think are changing really rapidly. Technology has a lot to do with that. Artificial intelligence in the state has been around some time. I've used different tools of with AI, right, for my brokerage. I've used them to skip trace for addresses when I've been looking for properties to purchase or just kind of offload and resell. Also, I believe, I've heard people talking about maybe doing so I've also done the virtual showings and stuff like that, which I think are a really good thing. It kind of had an influx during COVID. I think it's a really good tool to use. I heard what Amy was saying about the tool, and I believe you guys might have a point in the residential side, but I also believe in the commercial side of things. Obviously, I haven't looked at her technology, but obviously, most times the technology is going to address most of those concerns on the back end, and it's a lot easier to examine most commercial properties from a video standpoint because you can identify a lot of things that can't and may not necessarily be able to be covered up. Just the rules and regulations are different in a lot of places. So I do believe that has some. I'm sure it has the good way to it, and I do believe that human error is going to have to be monitored for anything like that, right? And just AI period. Why? Because we're implementing something that has a formula to it, and it's programmed to spit us out something based on that formula. But life doesn't necessarily have that. We have specific things that we need to be able to input to change the variables, to change the outcomes. So I think artificial intelligence is going to be like a lot of other things. It's been growing into every area of our life for, it's been blatantly obvious for over a decade. And now someone mentioned it. I do believe it's become a bit of a buzzword, right? Because like I said, it's been around. Now there are a lot of forms of it that were not available to the public that are now available. And so when I look around and I look about, I see a lot of tools that can help me shorten my time for things that I was going to do already. I'm not in a search for AI tools that eliminate parts of my process. I think it's important for some of the things that I do in my process when I'm analyzing a deal, managing a deal, maintaining a deal, doing construction on a property, right? Which there's prop tech and then there's contech, right? Construction technology, and then you have property technology and stuff like that. So there are a couple of different arenas where you begin to specialize in technology and artificial intelligence, where AI has the lead in all of these areas right now because they're making things easier for us, but we still have to. And this is a talk I was having with my wife yesterday about some of the things. I'm glad I know the old school way of doing things. As I sit down to rewrite some business plans, I've kind of separated my brokerage back on my own, so I'm gonna be able to move in how I was. I had a business partner, but my point is me being able and knowing the power of writing it down, having it in my hand, and being able to put it in front of somebody's face. Yeah, it's cool to be able to email it and stuff like that, but there's a different set of I don't know what I want to say, but there's a different set of things that I'm cultivating and developing by doing it that way and then putting it into the technology. So I'm not sure what message anybody might get from that, but technology, you're going to need it to keep up with where we're going and to keep up the pace. So I think it's very important. I think we all need to lean in on it, but we all need to also use our human, common sense, right? We talked about a couple weeks ago. Travis said we sound like Trump. I think we sound like Mr. Wonderful over Trump, but use your common sense, right? And to make decisions in real estate and business, period. And then, AI, I think, is the tool to help you do that and make you able to, move like you have superpowers. So just be wise with it and don't put all your chips on the technology, right? So that's it.
Justin, thank you. Always appreciate Justin being here. He's been part of this growth of this podcast and room over the last 2 years. I always want to thank him and recognize him as a big part of the moderator base here that that comes in every weekend and providing their insight. In AI, 85% of employment growth in the U.S. over the last 80 years is explained by technology-driven creation of new positions. Okay, AI service providers are making a conscious choice to explore a human-centric approach, developing a co-pilot products designed to assist people, as opposed to autopilot products that are aimed to entirely replace human roles. So these positions in AI are going to be significant productivity boosters. Okay, like for me, I was able to put together 2 published modules to provide CE in a month, creating both modules via AI. Done, submitted, approved, PowerPoint back, write up, everything. I can start now teaching these courses, providing CE. Where that would have took 6 months. It could have took 6 months, even longer. It took me 30 days to get up and running with those courses. Listen, with AI, we anticipate a similar 5-fold impact in the long run. While it remains to see how AI will be applied to specific sectors like healthcare, but real estate, the growth will generate space demand, and some influences are going to be emerging. Okay, different altered demands amongst assets, new asset and product types, revenue investment, design and space function, and geolocation. So the migration for individuals that are going to be AI impacted is going to shift a lot of people throughout the country where they didn't think they were going to move there, and now they are moving there because of the barrier of entry, the hybrid work environment. They could work virtually. Everything's AI. They could work on the side of a mountain, for that matter. So your rural markets are going to be shifting into suburban markets. Your urban markets are going to shift a little differently from who's going to be living in the city settings. You don't have to live in the city to make a difference in your impact. Now, to what Justin said, there's nothing like transactional old school experience. And I can tell you that you could have all the KPIs in the world reviewing processes, but common sense is still a necessary functionality where AI will never pick that up. And I will agree with Justin on that. I think if you don't have the role of experience of multiple transactions to see things, AI is only going to take you so far. You're only going to look at a screen, and it's only going to tell you what you're supposed to be thinking. I don't always look at the screen. I look at a bigger picture when I'm talking to the client. I want to meet the client. If I could fly in to meet the client, to me, that makes a huge difference than just looking at the numbers that they're providing me in the deal itself. The actual visual of myself, my senses, my intuition. Intuition AI doesn't teach you intuition. So there's going to be so much implementation for the savvier, intuitive investor or real estate professional that's only going to make them look better because they're going to be more precise with their answers and be more quick-witted with their decision making. Timothy, good morning and welcome. Thank you for your patience. Brief overview: who you are, what you do, and thoughts to AI implementation for real estate investor strategies. Timothy, are you there? Timothy going once. Timothy going twice. We'll come back to Timothy. He'll hopefully text me and let me know he's available. I'll go back to Amy. Amy, what's your thoughts so far in our discussion and some follow-up?
Oh, I'll say that, AI doesn't have intuition, but AI also doesn't have bias. And it can take out the biases that we have as humans, and provide a more objective answer based off a criteria that you provided, right? Sometimes we change our mind. So it's a good perspective of what's kind of happening or what it's seeing off of the data. And that gets back to, is the data good, right? You got to make sure that the data that it's using is good. But no, I think it's the whole part about how you can use the data analysis for even we were talking about on the computer vision side and the predictive analytics that there's you can, as and I don't even know this, but a lot of people using the video and having your list to things, and it can diagnose issues. So you can have the VR, AR. This gets into the AI, but virtual reality headset that its technician can walk up to an AC. The video can listen to that AC and help the maintenance tech diagnose what's wrong with it. And then if they're trying to repair it, they can put a VR headset on. They don't know what they're doing. It can train them on what to do. This is all exists today. So it's going to be super helpful as we have these large knowledge gaps between the people. It's going to be super helpful as far as appraisers go, but this whole knowledge gap that we have that's where it's going to help. More than anything, I think, it's going to be super. And then obviously taking the grunt work away that nobody wants to do.
Well, Amy, I'm gonna throw something at you, and then we'll come back to Timothy because he's available in a minute. So, do you think AI is going to try to direct us in the way that whoever designed it for that opinion or that direction, could that be the wrong way? I mean, like again, you see all the bad press for Google, how they're steering people toward like if you do a certain type of search, it totally doesn't even relate to what the history shows. So, like, is AI going to have the same issues, or are they already having those same relevant issues? And I'm talking about progressive, left, right, middle. You know what I'm saying? Like, where do you think that's going to impact?
Kind of cut out a little bit. Yeah, I do. But at the end of the day, what AI is designed to do is not guide, but learn, right? So it'll have a starting point, but you will teach what you want your AI to do. At the end of the day, that's what it does.
I have a feeling, it's not a good feeling.
You'll curate it the way you want it.
Yeah, I just have a feeling that there's going to be an agenda even to AI, which I think we're all in a stage of an agenda. And again, that's where intuition and transactional experience and being through various cycles in the real estate industry will supersede the AI implementation always. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there's always got to be a quality control human aspect to it, right? Because you say, but that quality control has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Quality control has been checking human stuff, right?
Yep.
So now you're just quality control is going to check what the AI is being produced. So there's always good to always have a second set of eyes on stuff.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, irony enough, quality control. My dad was the head of quality control and assurance for Nabisco. That was his job position for 45 years. So I used to hear that term all the time growing up. Yeah. So yeah, he was a kind of an OG in the Nabisco rise over they're over 45 years before they got bought out and turned into whatever they are now. But yeah, he was the head of quality control and assurance. So okay, I'm feeling a little more comfortable with the idea, but I'm still nervous about the next generation in the real estate industry, where they're getting their transactional experience from and their intuition from, if they're depending on software. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, but at some point, the knowledge or whatever is being transferred to them is coming from it. Yes, is it AI supplying it? Sure, but it came from experienced people who gave the data to the AI to then deliver to the next person, right? So that's all it's enabling. The AI is only enabled by the data that's being provided.
Yeah,
and we're hopefully that the data that's being provided to that is good data that comes from experienced humans that are providing that information. It's just the delivery mechanism, and it's able to consume much more data than any human can at such faster pace. So then it can take the best. It can make valuations based off of answers that it's been given, and it can come up with some pretty cool things that the humans can go, yeah, that's a great answer, right? I mean, no joke. I had an AI. We have this, and we haven't rolled it out yet. but I had an AI developer give me something based off of what it scraped off the internet to provide to a homeowner the ability to solve routine maintenance things, right? 2 days. And we had a bot that you could ask it questions like, hey, my sink is leaking, and like rudimentary questions. And it would provide really good answers. I had plumbers check it, I had electricians check it, and it was providing really good answers to the point where, okay, try this, check this out. Did it do this? And then you would go, oh, it's probably this. Now you need to call a plumber. If it couldn't solve, it's like solving the rudimentary things. So, but that happened in 2 days. That bot was created in 2 days. I mean, it's super cool.
Yeah, but I'm gonna talk about the bad part. Okay, we have inexperienced lenders that don't understand a market and don't understand the client and their management skills and their experience level, and give too much money and give too much leverage to someone that shouldn't gotten that leverage, and now it's a foreclosure, it's another blighted property, it's another recovery in the process because the original evaluator using the AI numbers that were in front of them didn't have the intuition to say, hey, there's something that doesn't smell right here or it doesn't look right, and you're starting to see that impact on the investment space in certain markets such as Baltimore, St. Louis, Philadelphia, Chicago. Cheap is not always good, and getting in on a property on the low end is not always good because you have to take into account who's going to manage those properties for you or maintenance those properties for you. And in the long term, is the tenant always going to be a bad tenant? Is there always going to be a bad situation there? And I don't think AI can pick that up. That's something where you need to understand the market every day and have transactional personal experiences to those mistakes that are made. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, so AI can only process the data that it's given.
Correct.
Right. So if it's local knowledge, tribal knowledge like that, of course AI can't do that. So, but you could teach what the good thing about what an AI engine can do is you should be, and your process should be to teach it.
Yeah.
So you, after every loan, would do an after action review and say, this is what happened, this is what didn't happen. We're seeing this here, that here, and teach your AI to get better, right? So then it can make those decisions. So like if you quality control, you can't just it's not like just like Microsoft installing Microsoft Word and using it. You have to teach it. You have to spend time teaching so it's not something that you just install and go. You have to spend the time teaching it, doing quality control checks, and eventually you can trust it, right? But initially you don't trust it. You quality control everything, use the AI so it learns, and then you input the data back into it. Like, this is, you didn't cover this, you should look at this. But then over time you can trust it. That's what AI is about, right? It's not about, uploading Microsoft Word.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Amy, can you please put your link to the PropTech Council? You should send that to me anyway, so we can get it out and blast it out to our database as well. So if you could,
Sure.
if you could put it in the chat, but then all at the same time, you should send me something that we can send out to our distribution on behalf of you for your council, hopefully to enhance some membership and recognition to the group as well.
Will do.
Thank you, Amy. Timothy. Good morning and welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to the AI implementation for real estate investor strategies.
Good morning, Joseph. Good morning, room. Sorry about that earlier. I guess my Clubhouse club deck was in the middle of an update, so in the middle of doing this. Timothy Doyle. I'm the owner of Steel Hill Properties up here in the Greater Lehigh Valley. I'm a buy-and-hold real estate investor on a part-time basis. I don't do this full-time. However, my FTE or full-time job is I actually work with information systems. I started out doing analyst work and then development work, and now I'm on the project management side of things in the healthcare arena. Now, why do I state that is because we have actually been implementing a lot of different AIs. In fact, actually, I have. personally implemented 3 different AI models within our entire hospital network. If we think of the evolution of where we were back in the 80s and 90s to where we are now, if you remember, even, and I'm going to use the doctor space because I'm very familiar with the clinical space, is we had physicians writing things down, writing your notes down, looking at your histories manually, and just helping them to determine where problems are. They would take a lot of time to write up notes and make sure they're in your paper chart. Now you have things that are all driven electronically. Still required manual intervention, re-educating a physician or a clinician how to enter those into certain templates inside of an electronic medical record. Now you have your radiology report or whatever report you're using. Now we have items to where the physicians are able to talk into a mic a little bit later on, a microphone, spit that recording out, and then send it off to somewhere for some foreign land or local. And the person may not understand all the clinical nuances in that dictation or report. So you would get things that are misspelled or misconstrued, and it would be up to a physician to review and sign off on it or edit it themselves. It takes a lot more time. Now we have, for example, I have a system out there that does takes a radiology report from a radiologist, they put it into the mic, and then AI spits back that report in a lot less time. Those reports used to take about 2 or 3 days to generate for the radiologist or physician to review. Now it takes about less than an hour through AI to do. Now, agreed, we are still in its infancy of things. AI as a whole is still in its infancy, so it's going to be a lot of adjust. I wouldn't say we dive into it wholeheartedly and use that as a source of truth, but do so with caution. Let that be your guiding light to kind of help you through things. Agreed with what Yolanda actually said, because humans are error prone. Well, before humans are error prone, well, who do you think programs these things? Who do you think builds these things? Who do you think builds your computers? There are going to be errors until the bugs get worked out. I get it, but the same with any system. Your personal computer wasn't very it was very cumbersome. You would have to program things in. Now you click on an icon, your Word program runs. And as Alma just said, scary if AI is doing a report for the physician. That's been going on a long time, Alma. It's not AI, but it's unfortunately sometimes. But yes, a trained physician does read those reports and they sign off on them. They review them before going ahead with them to make sure that everything is good. So I want to rest assured that give you the assurance that it just doesn't. AI just doesn't do it. It's still a human being has to take a look at it and sign off on it. And in fact, action reports are better than what we would get from somebody who read the dictation and typed it up. I will tell you that from experience. Now, how is that going to help with the real estate investment space? Amy has brought up some very good. No, Alma, it's not replacing it. Very good points. Again, it's still in its infancy. If you're an investor out there who likes to go in the real estate market, I probably would not invest in AI right now. It's going to probably do the same thing as the dot bombs of the early 80s and 90s. I'm predicting that, and I have the numbers to back that up. But again, it's a good tool for some of us who need like an educational something like maintenance. If we're doing a plumbing job and we don't know what we're getting into, you can take your Google glasses or whatever you're doing, take a look at the thing, and then have AI spit out probabilities or predictabilities or what might be going on, or even say, hey, you need to get a human on this. But it cuts down, what it does, it's a little more, it's efficiency that's built into our own decision-making process. It cuts down the time, it has cut down some costs. But still, at the end of the day, you need to validate it or have somebody who knows that subject matter better validate what is being driven in. But as far as, like I said, as far as like some things with real estate, again, if we can also, AI can be cleaner, and this is the one thing even the medical industry or any industry I've ever been in, if there's a standardization of languages across those industries. For example, like I said, Kim said foyer or walkway earlier. If we come up with that, it makes the transition to doing AI a lot easier. And agreed across the board that, this is what ISO councils usually get together on for their industries to make sure their languages, make sure their interconnectabilities are all identical. For example, if I go out and buy a Rivian truck, which is an EV truck, I want to make sure I'm able to plug into something that's compatible to a Tesla plug. Without that, then I'm kind of screwed if it's got its own plug. I have to go to a charging station. So what it does is it creates a standard across the board so everybody can use it. Everything is identical. Mm-hmm. Same as an AI, same as everything out there. You just need to come up with a standard, watch, rinse, and repeat. But again, there's a lot going on in AI. I just used the one dictation system as an example, but there are different things going on even in my industry professionally that are getting implemented. But again, we still have humans to back it up. So rest assured, we're not relying 100%, but we're leveraging it where we can and then doing our checks where necessary. So again, real estate market, I think it's a great tool. Again, it's still in its infancy. We still have to do our due diligence. We still have to do a little bit of information gathering and have enough information to kind of go on. If not, my suggestion, go to someone in your network who knows that subject matter or is a subject matter expert in those areas. Take them out for a cup of coffee, give them a fee, whatever. But the information you get, the secondary information to back up what you're getting from AI, it's worth its weight in gold. And those are my recommendations. And I think it's a good thing. It's just we're still in the evolution process of the whole quote-unquote artificial intelligence. So, Joseph, again, Timothy Doyle, Steel Hill Properties up here in the great Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania. Remember, if you can't buy it, steal it. Thank you, Joseph, and back to you.
Thanks, Timothy. So basically, my summary here is AI-driven technology will help assist property valuation, pricing, data mining, VA work, chatbots, error reduction. It catches errors that sometimes the human does not able to pick up because they're looking at so much information. So there's some really great, powerful things there, but it doesn't provide insight of, personal insight, intuitiveness, experience level. And that's where you're going to need to feed that to assist you in your quest as a real estate professional. And that's really where I see AI implementation for me as a real estate professional benefiting my clients, my power team, myself. And I think there's a really good discussion. I want to thank Amy. She's not here to thank her, but she was great. I want to thank Travis and Justin as well. They brought a lot to the room, a lot of insight. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. I want to thank our sponsors, Perkatech, your social media strategist, Yardell Perkins, and business partner to the Creative Bird Strategies podcast. I want to thank Realty 411 with Linda Pelagas, national publication, national event planner for real estate professionals and services throughout the country. MB Capital, your unsecured business line of credit program for unsecured business lines throughout the country to leverage toward your acquisition and and maintenance of your properties throughout the country. And then Lenmark Capital, where I'm a senior loan analyst, providing debt service coverage ratio, fixed to rent, fixed to flip, new construction, multifamily, single family residential, advisory strategy. Then also I'm a licensed real estate agent at TCS Property Management Services, where we're providing property management in various markets, East Coast, east of Mississippi, seeking joint ventures, partnerships. If I could be of any assistance in the management space, by letting me know. And then also, we're the only room here that provides CE instruction courses for real estate agents and asset-based lending, and now wholesaling real estate 3-credit CE courses that can be provided in any state in the country. We also provide worksheets for you to be a better educated borrower. And we now offer a monthly mastermind, second Monday of the month in Philadelphia, 6:30 p.m., which we will also have that live on here as well. But again, I want to thank everybody this morning for some great insight on AI implementation. And then my quote this morning, I like to always finish off with a quote. It's kind of my signature thing. And I want to end that off with, your move. Life is a game board. Time is your opponent. If you procrastinate, you will lose the game. You must make a move to be victorious. Napoleon Hill. I'll be ending the room in the next 30 seconds, and thank you all for your engagement and your questions and concerns. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.